All right, guys. Jesus Christ. We've made it. I've made it. All right. So, this is gonna be spoiler filled, obviously, but today I got on my fifth screening of this godforsaken film, right? But this last time I saw the film in IMAX, right? Like a true IMAX. It was the biggest screen so far. Ironically, it's the way that I last saw it. The screen I saw it on is something like 65, 75 feet or something like that. But it just tore my brain apart. So, and on my initial review, it was sort of rushed. So I wanted to do something. I kind of wanted to take that review and kind of just bloat it, basically. But I'm actually not alone today for this review. I'm actually joined by none other than Sam, JVS, in the house. What's going on?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Y'all ain't ready for this spoiler review coming at y'all. It's gonna go a mile a minute, but it's
Yeah,
all good.
yeah, because we're gonna be talking with you guys as well. So this is gonna be pretty. This is gonna be pretty insane. I'm just making sure that we're. Looks like the stream should be live and good. So anyway, hold on, let me bring you back up. And all right, so God, I don't even know where should we begin. Well, I guess we should begin with you were saying that you haven't even done your spoiler filled review yet, right?
I have not. I have not done a spoiler. I've done a spoiler discussion, but I've not done a spoiler review. I've never been able to actually break down some of the things that I couldn't talk about throughout it, like just the notable deaths, whether there's like the amazing action beat moments, and just how they were able to introduce so many characters, but at the same exact time give everybody some moments to shine. I've yet to actually talk about any of those things, so
Oh my
I'm really
God.
excited.
And we're about to go in deep, boy, deep. Oh no. God, I don't even know how to start. You know what? Fuck it. I just want to start big. All right. I want to talk about my first and second favorite moments from the film in general. Right. So my first favorite moment, my number one favorite moment from the film so far, I think, has got to be the death of Spider Man, because like
Mm,
it wasn't until that part that like the gravity of the situation sank in, you know.
mm.
That was like, I guess that's what it took for me to be like, holy shit, they're like dying, you know. And then I was thinking about the
Yeah,
previous deaths, including like Loki and shit like that throughout the film, and it just that just like tore my brain out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my god,
Man,
they
this
actually
is.
did that. You know, I can't believe it. There's something else that I was gonna say, but um, damn it. What was the last thing that I said? I think I just lost it. Shit.
You said one of your most impactful moments, but then you said there was another moment as well that you want to talk about.
Oh, like second favorite moment?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Second favorite moment from the film, 100%, was when Thanos he shows up in Wakanda and Scarlet Witch is trying to destroy the stone in Vision's forehead, you know, and Vision trying to like talk her through that, and her like emotionally freaking out while Thanos is closing in to that score. It's like one of the most like hair raising moments I think I'll probably ever see from a film this year, for real. Like that was a
Yeah.
uh, ironically on my fifth time. Like her acting really stood out during that
Yeah.
sequence. Like it was almost like traumatic watching her act like that. Like she looked like she was literally in pain. You know. Um, yeah. Thoughts on any of that?
Nah, I think that they had said Robert Downey Jr. was doing like a press interview when it came to Tom Holland's like final moments with him.
Mm,
And he had said that Tom Holland, like he did that all on his own. Like they had a specific script how they wanted it to be, but he wanted to make it an authentic emotion moment.
mm-hmm.
And it was like for him to say, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die," and then his very fast words is, "I'm sorry." And like you had said that Robert Downey Jr., like you could see the tears coming off him, but you couldn't see it on the normal format. But on the IMAX size, you could legit see it. Like
Yeah.
that scene in and of itself solidified for not just adults but for kids that he's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like even if he gets brought back, he still died. You know what I'm saying? And we had talked about this for years now, that we were worried that Disney/Marvel would renege and they wouldn't go full tilt, like go fully in. And I think that for us to witness something like that, I think people are missing the scope of what this film was able to really do from an emotional standpoint and a resonant standpoint. Just like you were talking about Scarlet Witch, like that moment was real. Like Elizabeth Olsen, she went in and how, you know, to really engage the audience. Because we were like, okay, she has no choice, but this is the one person that she has left. Like, when her brother died, he was the person that saved her. You know what I'm saying? And she fell in love with him because of it. So it was heartbreaking, man.
Jesus Christ.
It was heartbreaking, bro.
Yeah, there's so many things going on in my mind. Jesus. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. My favorite moment was the death of Spider-Man. But what I was going to say was, like, watching... That was, like, the moment where it really hit me so hard that, like, these people are dying. And that Marvel did something bold. Because, like, when Spider-Man was, like, just begging for his life, you know what I'm saying? Before he just dies... And then, like, the goddamn movie just rolls credits, like, 3 minutes later or some shit. I was like, what? I literally could not believe they did that. Literally, when Black Panther and everybody was disappearing and shit, puffs of smoke, Jesus, I almost said Davos, but Drax, right? Goodness. But, yeah, when Drax disappeared, I was just like, I was in that sort of, like, I know what's happening, but I haven't accepted what's happening, you know? Because it was just too surreal. People just becoming clouds of dust, you know? But it wasn't until when Spider-Man died that it really sunk in, like, oh shit, this movie just threw a fucking curveball at me, you know?
Yeah.
But, that's Spider-Man, and then the moment with Scarlet Witch, bro, that score, someone needs to tell me that damn song that's playing during that moment where she's trying to destroy the wait, shit, which stone is it that's in Vision's head?
The Mind Stone.
Oh damn, I should know. Mind Stone. Yeah. Man, that whatever song that is, I need it because that was like some goosebumps inducing shit right there. But what would be your like top 2 favorite moments though?
It's really interesting because, man, it's ironic that one of the moments, probably my number 3 moment, would be the Scarlet Witch moment with Vision, but for different reasons. It's the simple fact that she didn't want from Jump Street for him to even be involved anymore. She knew that he was in jeopardy. She knew she wanted to protect him. She would give up her life for him. She held back Thanos with one arm while at the same time simultaneously destroying him. But it was like
she did.
It was like she was sacrificing all over again. You know what I'm saying? Like before, when her brother died and she went back to try to save everybody, like that was a sacrifice. And it's like she's literally destroying the mind of the person that she really loves. And ultimately, he begged for it. And the thing that gets me about that scene is not the fact that she did it. She definitely killed him. But Thanos decided, oh, no, I need this stone. So I'm going to turn back time and pluck it out of his head like it's nothing. And then just leave him for dead. Because, like, when he plucked it out of his head, like, Vision just went limp. And I don't know what was worse, like, seeing the Mind Stone destroyed and him dying and just being evaporated versus it being plucked out of his mind and then him just going completely limp and dark. And I was like...
Well, you're talking, like, emotionally? Like, what's worse?
Yes.
Like, because to me... the worst part about that situation to me was definitely Elizabeth Olsen's her freak out, you know, as she's like destroying the stone. That was like heartbreaking, you know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? Especially with Vision sort of like gently egging her on and shit to destroy it and basically like kill him essentially, right? You know?
Yeah.
Damn, you know?
But
damn.
My number
Two
one.
or your number two? Well, you said
That was my number three.
yeah,
I'll
you
tell you
two.
my number two. I'll
What's your
tell you
number
my.
two? What you got?
So, this is the thing about my number two is the fact that hmm, it's a catch-22 situation.
Yeah.
When I realized that Peter Quill, not when he messed up, not when he went and reneged and was like got this emotional outburst, but when he initially realized that Thanos has the love of his life in his arms,
Mm-hmm.
and like Thanos was literally tempting him. He was like, "You've heard what the woman wants. Do it. Like, you want a bigger
Yeah.
target? Do it."
Yeah.
And like I'm looking at Chris Pratt, and like he's really acting because he's expressing that, all right, I want to honor her wishes, but once she's gone, she's gone. It's like it brings him back to the moment where he remembers not only he had to kill his dad, but that he had to watch his mother die, and he wasn't even there for it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like all that well of emotion was there, and he pulled the trigger, and nothing but bubbles came out. And Thanos was like, "Oh, I like him," and I was just like, he just left them in emotional turmoil, and like he broke him already at that moment from a psychological standpoint. Like he already pulled the trigger as though he was going to kill Gamora, but then on top of that, the fact that he didn't do it, but Thanos did it anyway. Like it raised so much more resonance later on to a scene that a lot of people have problems with, but I can really, truly, humanly
Right.
understand.
Right.
Which I'll go into that later when we talk
Right.
about
Right.
Avengers.
Right. Yeah. But that was
It was
yours. That was your second favorite moment.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, that was my second favorite moment. But
That
what
that
was my,
was that was pretty intense. Oh, by the way, I love when they it like okay, so like in that scene that you're talking about, if we went back just like a couple minutes or something, when Benicio del Toro, when he's in that fucking that box, and he's just like magnificent, magnificent. I love that part. Anyway, um, you you so your number one favorite moment
so
from
my
the film?
number one, it's so many. It was so many great action moments, but I think the subtle moments, everything Thanos did was just eye catching and
Yeah.
emotion filled. And the moment that I realized that Thanos was about to get exactly what he wanted, but he had to sacrifice what he needed. Um, he couldn't go and live without ultimately. When we saw the Red Skull just randomly show up, and I realized, yo, is that Hugo Weaving? Like what? And I find out later on it's the dude from Walking Dead, Aaron, that actually voiced him and acted as him. I had no idea. He did a great job with that voice. But he said to him, like, look, you have to give up the thing that you love. And Gamora was like, this is your irony. This is what you get, like, because you don't love anybody. I was sitting there thinking, if this man legit is in tears, like, I'm done. Like, I'm legit done because I knew that he'd have to kill her. And it was like, as soon as we saw and they panned over to him, and she was like, this is not love. This ain't love. And, like, he's like, I'm sorry. Like, I've
Mm.
seen this done once before, and I can't not do this, you know? And he kills her. And then they show this beautiful scene with them together, him at the water with the Mind Stone, and he just realized the weight of what he did. Like, I thought that was one of the most beautiful and amazing and dark things all at the same time. Like, it was like, it resonated with me because this technically is a CG
Whoa!
character. This
Wait!
character isn't even real, dog.
You're saying that the killing of Gamora is your favorite scene?
It is the thing that makes this not just a Marvel film, but it makes it an emotional, weighted, and cemented film because that was the first stake that was real to me, tangibly. Like I was like, this is a real consequence.
Mhm.
Not just, I mean, yeah, the deaths of everybody and watching that would probably be like my number 4 or my number 5. Like just watching that in and of itself, like really hit me. You know,
Yeah.
every time I watch it, I'm just like, there's no music, there's no upbeat, anything. People are just going like it's the rapture or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when he did that, I was like, I realized then he's not gonna stop, and nothing's gonna stop him. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was able to do that, her life, her death would be in vain ultimately. So
Yeah.
he has to do this. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, the way that they did that, and even when I watched in IMAX, the first time I saw it, I didn't even notice there was blood all around her from when she fell. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people say it's like kind of a con because she's falling on, I think, volume 2 at a higher elevation than that, supposedly, and landed on her feet. Regardless of the fact, the girl died, and like it hit me, man. Like I was
No,
emotional.
no, it wrecked me, especially because of like Thanos's or Josh Brolin's just superb, nuanced performance. You know,
Yeah.
there were like all these little details and the CGI like skin and facial expressions where I was just like, what the fuck? It was just blowing my mind. And the moment with Red Skull coming back was pretty cool. Um, I don't think it hit me as hard as other people, but it was definitely like, oh damn, they're reaching back. You know, that's dope. Like someone's doing their homework on this shit. You know,
Like seriously.
I know that the Russo brothers have stated that um, they when they were working on the script, they would spend like months and 8-hour days just like combing through the script, looking for like plot holes and flaws and shit like that, and how to find balance between characters, and I think it really shows on screen, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I think that the dialogue is well executed and incredibly well thought out, in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
it feels comic booky, like dialogue from a comic, like actual Marvel comic book. But it doesn't feel like a third grader wrote this film either. Like
No.
it's pretty clever writing actually,
Yeah. No, I can agree.
and most of the character interactions just completely ripped my mind apart. But let's go to favorite image from the film. So I this one was sort of tricky trying to find my favorite image, still image from the film. That
Oh,
was
I can tell you mine.
and I
Oh,
think I think I figured out mine.
I definitely know
I
mine.
want to throw out some honorable mentions. For example, okay, so like when Doctor Strange, when he split into like 100 Doctor Stranges and like surrounded Thanos, and like he
Yeah.
like threw like a, I don't know what the fuck it was. It was like some kind of whip, like a glowing whip around Thanos. Like just the still of like Thanos like was restraining against like all these glowing ropes around his arms, just, and then there's just like hundreds of Doctor Stranges. And it just, I don't know. It's like too much for my brain to like process. It was way too much. But I think my favorite image is at the very end where you see like a dead Vision, and you see Cap just devastated, and he goes,
Oh yeah, that was when he was like, "Oh God."
yeah, he goes like, "Oh God!" Like if I had a still image of that moment, that would probably be like my favorite moment, because it's just it's a good example of like just devastation, that you lost, you know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or really just despair, There's a actually, hold on a second. we're gonna we're gonna go big screen for a second, folks. Hold on. I gotta, cause I'm always fucking this up. Canto. We gotta jump on Google real quick. I think I always call it Dante's Inferno, but I think it's technically the Divine Comedy. But anyway, this is one of my like. I guess it's probably my favorite poem. Which, if you know nothing about this, essentially the main character or characters, they literally like walk through hell, literally like heaven and hell. Like they literally go through these different layers of hell, and there's at the gates of hell, it says, I think, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. And I feel like that should be. I feel like the Russo brothers like took that to heart. I feel like one of those sons of bitches was like reading Dante's Inferno, and they just were like, you know what, fuck it. What if we just kill everyone? You know, let's throw that on the chalkboard tomorrow at 9 a.m. What if we just kill everyone? Raise your hand. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like the movie is about like despair, loss.
Mm-hmm.
What's crazy is that in the trailer when in the very first trailer when Thanos was talking. Where is it? I think I have it on my Facebook. You know what quote I'm talking about? It's like one of the first things he says in the trailer. I'm gonna have to pull up the.
Are you talking about Run From It? Forget what the flipping trailer. I know
Right,
exactly what you're talking about.
right. Hold on.
Destiny will still arise, right?
Yeah, I think I have it here. Yeah, in
See if
time
I
you
can.
will know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. But he was being literal, dog. He did that for real.
Yeah,
It's not an Avengers movie. It's a Thanos origin film called Avengers. You know, with him,
yeah,
it's like a heist film for these goddamn Infinity Stones. You know,
yeah.
and like everyone that we've known from like the past 18 films try to stop him, and they lose.
They lose bad, bro.
Uh,
Like you come out of this movie feeling like legit, like you lost a fight, man. You feel like you lost with them, not just that they lost, but you feel like you lost, and it's like you had no preparation for what really came and it just knocked you out completely.
it just, I can't believe. Hold on a second. I had to go. I'm big screen right now. But guys, look at this image right here. This moment right here with oh my goodness, with Captain America, he's in Wakanda and he's like holding on to the gauntlet and Thanos is in front of him and like Cap is just like screaming like oh my god, it just gives me goosebumps. I can't believe they did this. Like, I can't believe Disney let them end it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What the
it's funny
fuck?
though because when I watched that scene, that specific scene you're talking about in the trailer, like I was like, in what context would this even make any sense?
Yeah.
But then when you actually look at the film and you understand the desperation that they really were in, he was just trying to hold Thanos back for seconds enough for her to destroy the Mind Stone off of Vision.
Yeah.
That was it. Like he didn't know if he would live or die, and none of them did. And it was like ultimately Thanos could have killed all of them really quickly. But he was
Right.
like, you just need to be out of my way because half of you guys are gonna die anyway. Like
Oh
he,
my
he put this
god.
quote to Tony Stark when they were fighting, and the
Yeah.
quote was like, "The end is near, and when I'm done, half of humanity will still exist, perfectly balanced as all things should be. I hope they remember you." I was like, "Yo, this
Yeah.
man is on a different level."
Yeah, this is not just like a simple I'm evil, rar. You know, like there's like layers to Thanos, and I had to go. I'm going. Hold on a second. I had to go big screen again because this scene right here. This was my fifth time seeing this goddamn film today, and this moment right here hit me when Thanos he's what's he doing? He's looking at the gauntlet, and Gamora is in front of him, and he's like, you know, once I have all the stones, you know, shit, you know, reality, you know, I can make it whatever I want it to be. The way he
Yep.
says it though in the film, uh, you realize that he's a lot more complex than we would have thought prior to watching the movie for the first time. You know what I mean? Um, like he has ambitions. It's almost like it. I don't know how to put this. It's like he's evil, but he's not evil. You know what I'm saying? He's like
Yeah.
a, he's
No,
like
I get it.
he's like a good person who's gone fucking insane and hasn't taken his meds. You know what I'm saying? Um, he's kind of like Kanye right now. You know what I'm saying? He's just fucking freaking the fuck out, and there's no one who could just calm this nigga down. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's kind of what Thanos, because he doesn't even want to like kill everyone. He's just his whole thing is like, here, let me kill half of all life so I can make it better. And that
It's like, but the
and it,
reality is like, I understand where he's coming from. I understand like he
yeah,
has actual substantial proof based on his own race. But at the same time, this man's talking about mass genocide. Like
I
that's
know,
Killmonger to a 13th level.
I know, but
Like
he's
Killmonger
looking
him
at
would be
it.
like,
I'm not saying he's right, obviously, but he's looking at it from a viewpoint of like a forest fire, you know, is necessary. You know, they could be a part of nature. You know, And he's kind of like seeing himself as like, what if I was that fire, you know?
It's just craziness, man.
Like,
It's some straight out craziness.
and like Josh Brolin was just, I thought that his performance, even though he was in a CGI mask, I thought his performance was outstanding. You know what I'm saying? I could tell it was Josh Brolin underneath the CGI. There were
Yeah.
numerous times where the CGI was so good it was borderline like photorealistic. Watch the scene where fucking Thor shows up. He throws the axe at Thanos. The axe hits Thanos' chest. Okay, when Thor gets really close to Thanos and he's like holding Thanos' head. Okay, you cannot tell me that is not exceptional texture
Yeah.
on that face, like exceptional, like borderline photo realism. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I thought that the visual effect. This is the thing, and I mean, a lot of people might hate me for saying this, but I feel like if I compared the VFX to Black Panther, specifically the fight scenes in Black Panther, and comparing them to this movie, it's like night and day, bro. Like
Bro,
everybody's CG was on point for this movie.
yes, guys. When I went to see this for a fifth time, mind you, on the biggest screen yet, it was like 75 feet or something like that. Like so the movie was shot in IMAX, which means that when you go to an IMAX screening, the whole entire screen fills up, right? And there were so many sequences where like just little like minute details would stand out, like Thanos crying when he had to kill Gamora. Like what? I or like was Iron Man crying after Spider Man died. I like you could actually see a tear go down. I didn't even notice that in any of my previous screenings until I saw it in IMAX, true IMAX, I should say. Or the scene with Spider Man when Spider Man's in his traditional outfit and he's on that ring spaceship.
Oh my
And the
god,
spaceship
that was
and
beautiful.
and the spaceship is like
Oh,
leaving the
oh,
Earth, and like Spider Man like is crawling on the side of it. And he takes off his mask. Okay, the visuals there are fucking out of this world. In IMAX, it felt like I was in space, fly on the wall watching Spider Man. Like it just.
it was amazing. It was like all the VFX was amazing.
Oh my
And I mean,
god.
I guess to go back.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say when I saw it in IMAX, that's another thing. The CGI it looked even better. Hell, there were shots that I was just like, yeah, I don't know about that one. But when I saw the same shot in IMAX, I was like, God, Lord, like if you were to just like freeze frame every shot and zoomed in, I'm telling you, the CGI is remarkable.
No, I completely agree. I think that's part of the thing about this whole movie being shot in IMAX, that it's a beyond benefit to see it in IMAX. If you haven't seen it in like a true IMAX, 75 feet size, like it's an experience. I highly recommend you go and check it out. Going back to the question that you asked, what was my favorite shot? My
Oh yeah,
favorite shot.
yeah. Favorite still image from the film.
It's funny because it ties in line with one of my favorite characters in this movie, which is Thor. Honestly, I think Thor is at his best in this movie, even more so than Ragnarok. Now, people can disagree with me all they want to, but from the beginning to the very end, like I was like, I felt it. I not only felt his performance,
Mm-hmm.
I saw even bleeding through his comedic moments talking to the Guardians of the Galaxy, like his despair. He had this one moment talking to Rocket about him being alive for as long as he was and the
Whoa,
curse that he
wait,
was in.
can we pause on that for a second? Because that I didn't notice, not until I saw it in IMAX. I didn't notice that Chris Hemsworth was like crying, like actual tears. Didn't notice
Yeah,
that. um,
yeah,
and he said, I'm pretty sure he said that he was like 1,500 years old.
that's
And
exactly what it is.
that was like another moment where I got like shivers down my spine. I really liked the emphasis and the reminder that he's not a superhero, he's a god. I thought that was really,
Exactly.
really cool. I just had to touch on that for a sec.
No. That's fine. That's why I love this because it humanizes him, but it resonates with the fact that he is Odin's son.
Yeah.
Like he legit is a god, and on top of that, like, what comes behind all that? Not just him being in love with Jane, but what is the emotional repercussions of everything that's happened, even since the past few years that they've been Avengers, you know what I'm saying? And it all comes into this great performance to the point that he gets to this planet and the guy's like, look, you're going to have to jumpstart this star. And he was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And like, he's like, you do know you about to take the full blunt of a star. He's like, look, this is the reality. If I don't do this, we're all going to die anyway from Thanos. So I'm going to do it. And when he was sitting there taking the blunt of this star, and that moment of watching the star hit his back, I was like, yeah, I'm a Thor fan forever. Because he's a straight up OG for that. And then watching Groot, and they were sitting there trying to get the axe, and Baby Groot was like looking, and like this is the first time he actually put the game down for a minute and just looking at this man dying. He's like, he needs his axe. And Groot sits there, uses it, picks it up, and creates the axe. I was like, that moment was so dope, even more so than when Thor came to Earth for the rescue. Like, that moment for me was great. Like, that was one of my favorite moments to actually watch, and the scene to actually watch.
Okay, first off, God, that whole little road trip with Thor going to get the axe. First off, giant Peter Dinklage. What'd you think? What'd you think when you first saw that? Before I go any further, that was wild.
At first, it was weird because nobody in the movie theater seemed to realize it was Peter Dinklage. I was like, "Yo, it's Peter Dinklage! It's Peter Dinklage!" Like, shh. I was like, "Okay, whatever." At first, I was just really hyped for the fact that I knew it was him. Certain points it was kind of jarring just because of the way he looked. I think that it probably been more beneficial to actually have him just CG character versus like real life. He's really big. Really? But I mean, I really like this character because of what he represents, and even his delivery talking about like it was X amount of people here, and Thanos not only took my arms, but he killed all of them. But it goes into a question that I was gonna bring up to you. I don't know if we have time to bring it up. The fact is that Thanos took out the Nova Corps. I'm not sure if Thanos took out half the Nova Corps or if he just took out the whole Nova Corps. He killed half of the Asgardians that Thor brought up, and I didn't know what the heck happened to the other half. And the Russos had alluded that the Valkyrie was with the other half. But the fact that Thanos has already killed half of a lot of different people. Yeah. When he snapped his fingers, did they take a 1/4 of that half? Because if he already killed half, does that mean that the rest of the Asgardians, half of the section that was already gone, are they going to go too? I was just curious your thought on that because
I mean, probably shit. I mean, I know Russo brothers said that they wanted to raise the stakes, and they're committed to raising the stakes. So, I mean, maybe they're just gone. I don't know. I was still tripping off of the fact that Thor took on the full force of a star for like a couple minutes or some shit.
Yeah,
he literally like took on a spirit bomb from Dragon Ball Z for like minutes, basically. That's wild. And then the root Thor hammer I thought was ingenious, you know. And God, that moment where he was what do they call that shit? The Bifrost, or whatever the fuck it's called. And he shows up in Wakanda and like Rocket Raccoon jumps off Thor's shoulder, and and Thor's just like, "Bring me Thanos!" Wow. It's weird. It's cheesy, but like it's actually awesome all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like too much, but I'll take it.
It's pure Marvel.
You know what I mean by saying that it was cheesy. Like, for example, like seconds later they show Mark Ruffalo and the mask retracts and he's like, "Woohoo! You guys are screwed now." Like it was a little bit cheesy, but it was perfect though at the same time. No.
Yeah. No, I mean it definitely was. I'm used to these kind of cheesy moments in these kind of movies, so it didn't really hit me that hard. I mean, I expected somebody was going to be like, he's come, you know what I'm saying? It didn't come off really cheesy, though, to me, because cheese is a part of, like, this universe, you know what I'm saying? So it it didn't really hit me that bad. If it would kind of miss something out of left field, like I don't know, Groot would have made like a battle cry and started speaking for the first time or something stupid. Nah, and then, but nah, I think it made sense. I think it made a
Okay.
lot of sense, especially because the Hulk got his tail whooped in the beginning of this movie, and the
Yeah,
very first thing that
I didn't
happened,
realize he got slept. The Hulk got slept. Like, got put to sleep. Shit.
like he got put down, and the fact that Hamdell spared his life, sent him to Earth. Everybody on Earth is like, "What the heck was that?" And he ended up in the Sanctum, and he was like, "Thanos is coming," and like that's the first thing you hear. I think it was perfect to have Thor being with the one weapon that might could kill him,
Yeah.
and he say something, so it made sense. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Why didn't Thor aim for the head? Damn it. You know?
I
He would
mean,
have got that son bitch. Before he even snapped his fingers, too. You know?
well, the thing was that he freaking threw that hammer hard,
Yeah.
and Thanos was pushing it back,
Right.
and it still hit him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I don't know that he had that much control of where it was gonna go, personally. Um, but maybe he did. I mean, if he had hit him in the head, it would have been the end of the movie. I would have felt like that was a huge renege. If Thanos would have died and they didn't snap the fingers, I would have been pissed.
You
To be
know,
quite honest.
I had it as an option that maybe they might kill Thanos, but I really hoped that they wouldn't. And thank God they did. Well, shit, they made Thanos win. You know? I still can't get over that. It's like they let the devil win. That just kind of honest to God mind fucks me, you know? First off, what's up with the gauntlet? All right, we're about to just go all over the fucking place. Fuck it. But like the gauntlet, like what happened to it? Because it appears to be destroyed. I guess the stones are okay. I think. I think
Yeah,
they're
all the
okay. But the
stones.
gauntlet, what's up with that? It's like roasted and some of his flesh is burned. What's up with that?
So I think that there was a residual effect of him snapping his fingers.
Okay.
That half of his arm is really burnt off, and I think it took a lot out of the actual gauntlet itself. But none of the stones look like they were affected, especially multiple times that I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think the stones are in badder shape, but I think that the gauntlet in itself, I don't know if he snapped his fingers again, I don't know if it'll hold up. And I think that this is the thing that I took away from that. Initially, I was like, okay, what was the point of all that to show that the gauntlet itself was messed up? What if the fact is that they showed that the Russo showed that because you can't do that again, that the gauntlet is beyond repair, that it can actually use all the stones at once like that, and that most likely that gauntlet we saw with Peter Dinklage's character, that other mold, that would be the only way that you could be able to use all the stones again.
Yeah,
Because that's what I think.
yeah.
I personally feel like they didn't show it as the K as though like, oh, that didn't mean anything. I think it's that if somebody tried to get the gauntlet from him, no matter what, they couldn't reuse it in the same way. That's what I think. Real reason why that happened.
Yeah, yeah, no, I would agree with that assessment. It did seem like maybe like when Goku goes like Super Saiyan 3 and he like destroys everything around him.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of essentially what happened here. Um,
yeah.
but where do you think he went? Like, do you think he's on the planet where he had Gamora as a little girl around his finger, kind of literally?
Yeah. I think he went to the planet that when she was a little girl that he had said. I mean, he wiped out half of her population.
Yeah.
He even expressed that. I mean, they're thriving now, and I think that's where he went, and I think that's where he needed to be because that's the biggest remembrance of her, and that would make so much excellent symmetry because even in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, there's a moment where he's just kind of sitting to himself. His armor is sitting on like a scarecrow, and he's
Mm.
just watching the horizon go. And I think that would make the most sense to me that he'd be on her planet, her
Yeah.
older.
Which just watching him like stagger and like sit down and like smile and watch the sunset and then ending credits. What do you think was your initial reaction to that when you saw that for the first time?
What? When I watch what now?
When you saw Thanos, he like goes to sit down. He has a smile on his face. He's watching the sunrise, and then it rolls credits. What was your like first initial reaction to that?
I mean, to be quite fair, man, like I was in shock that Disney/Marvel allowed him to snap his fingers. I was already messed up then.
Right, a lot of people are
Um,
so mad that like they're gonna renege in a way, but like it's like shit. I like that's a fair viewpoint, but at the same time, I didn't think they even had the balls to even go that far to begin with. You know, shit.
yeah, no, absolutely. But when I started seeing people like going like flies, and I mean, that was crazy and all, but when he was sitting there, like just sitting there, I don't even know how injured he is. I see his arm is all scarred up, but I mean, he technically used some of the stone to repair himself. One of the stones could at least repair him.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, I didn't see him necessarily as smiling as much as when he was going to Gamora and in that realm, what so to speak. And she asked him, "Did you do it?" He's like, "Yeah." And she asked, "What did it cost?" And he said it cost everything. I was like, dog. Like if he had said any other thing, I would have been like, "Forget you, you piece of dirt," you
Yeah.
know. But he was like, "It costs everything." That means he knows full well the ramifications of what he did.
Yeah.
So it's like even though he's sitting there looking like he's in peace, he's not. You know what I'm saying? Like he's it's like a means to an end kind of thing. But I thought it was emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so many different dimensions to that scene, even more so than watching people disappear. So it fuses perfectly with the first time ever you don't see like this, telegraph like artistic thing and showing all the different like heroes and their colors and stuff. Like you just see this black sign that had like Avengers Infinity War, and then it just goes and implodes on itself and
Yeah.
disappears.
I think when I first saw the film and when I saw the ending credits arrived, I think I was speechless. I'm pretty sure, and I just ran. I just like ran outside. I couldn't handle what happened. You know, for real. Because I don't know where they're going. You know, like I
Yeah.
know buddy of mine, Eric, he was saying, well, Captain Marvel could just, she'll be the thing that destroys Thanos. And it's like, okay, well, let's give you that for a second. That's all nice and all, but that doesn't explain how we're going to have another 2 hour and 40-minute long movie. Like, what's going to happen in that runtime? Like, is this going to be better than the third one? How could this be better than the third one? You know? Is that even possible? How the fuck could
Yeah.
they do that in like a year's time? I've been trying to think of certain concepts of how they could go bigger than three. I heard someone saying, what if they go to fight Thanos, the people that remain, they go to fight Thanos, but like they fight him in a dimension where the stones, their powers don't really matter here, or they don't work that well here. Like it's like a totally different form of physics. Kind of
Yeah.
think about, like when Doctor Strange went on that fucking trip in his movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going through like crazy nebula mushroom cloud places and shit. Like imagine like them fighting Thanos in like a trippy environment like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But have you started to think about like could they go bigger than three? How could they go bigger than three? Go more complex?
Yeah, I have. It's been more so like an emotional thought press theory than like how they're tangibly going to actually do the script.
Sure.
Um, what I picture is like all the OG characters, which I think is interesting symmetry that all the characters that would make up the future Avengers, so to speak, are
Yeah.
gone. They've been erased. They've been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then all of a sudden, now you have nothing but the OG characters. not even technically Hulk was even there. It was really just Bruce. So I feel like what's going to happen to make this be an even trade, so to speak, to really resonate, is
Yeah.
not just the arising of Captain Marvel and what she knows and what abilities she can bring to help, but
Mm-hmm.
the self-sacrifice of everybody else to do whatever it takes. And I feel like it's going to be one of those moments where not just Thor, but really Iron Man, Captain America. The honestly thing is, Iron Man and Captain America didn't even see each other this entire movie. The entire movie, they didn't even see each other. They talked around the idea that they needed each other, but they didn't see each other. And I thought that was amazing symmetry to set up something more later on. The Hulk really didn't get utilized because he got the snot beaten out of him like Ronda Rousey style. So he
Yeah.
got beaten to submission.
I
So
feel
they're gonna
like
have to pay that off later.
yeah, I feel like he could have been beat up a little bit worse, you know, because him just going just straight like becoming a coward. I thought just from that one loss, I thought was a little extreme. I'll take it. I thought it was a little bit
Yeah.
extreme, you know.
I think that the thing with that is that this man really hasn't been beat before. I mean, he really didn't. Like, I'm thinking back to even like Incredible Hulk, even in Avengers 1, he was bombarded. Like, he had a lot of things on his plate, but he had never had somebody physically beat him down. And this was the first time that he really faced real fear and trauma.
True.
And not just that, I think technically he'd only been the Hulk for what, like 7 years? Technically. So it's like, how many times has he been the Hulk from that point? So each time that he's come out,
Mm.
like it's not like he's a fully developed Hulk anyway. But either way, anybody that gets beat down to the point of realizing that you could really die, um, I mean, I think it's going to affect you mentally and emotionally one way or another. I think that they definitely could have done more, and there was definitely some false advertisements here or there. There was a couple pops and a couple toys
Mm-hmm.
that showed like the Hulk busting out of his armor while on the Wakanda field. Even the actual the trailer, like the third or second trailer, showed the Hulk on the battlefield with them, but
What?
didn't never happen. Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, I think.
that
Damn,
was
I
one of
think
the
you're right.
biggest shots showing like all of them
Yeah, that's
together
right.
going through, and the Hulk was in the background somewhere around here, and he wasn't there. So it's like, I mean, they definitely either one cut that idea because they have something else more for him in the four, or like they were just it was just a fake out, man. I really don't know, but it's definitely more that they're gonna do for four. But it's like there has to be an even trade-off to get these people back. It can't just be as simple as they get the gauntlet and it works. There has to be a consequence there. And I think it
Right.
all surrounds the soul stone and the uses of the soul stone. And I feel like whoever gets the soul stone next, they also should have to make that even sacrifice.
Yeah.
Even if it's Tony, even if it's Cap, I feel like it has to be Tony because Cap has lost everybody already. Like, who else does Cap really love? Um,
Right.
because I mean, what I'm saying, and it's like, if imagine this, like if Tony was he got the Infinity Gauntlet, he realized the only way for him to bring it back was to get the Soul Stone and sacrifice the person that he loves. The persons that he do love is Pepper and Rhodey, and like if he
Yeah.
had to actually do that, man, it'd be rough. And I
Yeah.
feel like not only will he no longer be Iron Man anymore, it would be too much. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be an even trade of emotion for this to work.
Yeah, I think in Civil War, the moment where it's like Iron Man versus Cap at the very end, at the very end, I thought the build up to that was like extremely impactful and emotive. It really struck a nerve, so I gave Civil War a 10 out of 10, which at the time that was the first Marvel film I had ever given a 10 out of 10, and then well, fucking Infinity War shows up, and now we have the second MCU film that I've given a 10 out of 10 to. Those are the only two so far that I have. Um, I feel like the Russo brothers are just like perfect for these kinds of scripts.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a great job with multi perspective storytelling here. Like I feel like everybody had a spotlight I mean, everybody was on a spectrum, but like everybody had a moment, you know. I feel even
Yeah.
like Mantis and shit, you know, Drax and shit. Like they all had like a moment, like when Mantis was like fucking dancing and jumping up and down, and there was like zero G on Titan, you know, in the background, as if like we didn't notice, you know, the audience. But uh, yeah, I thought that was cool that everybody had a moment. I do sorta kind of wish we saw some characters from like the Netflix series, but that's like very minor. It's not. It's not. It was. It was never something that came to mind while watching the film. But
I mean,
thought,
it's interesting you bring that up though,
yeah.
because I felt like the Russo brothers said this. They said that they couldn't fit the Marvel TV characters in Infinity War, but
Mhm.
they never said anything about Thor. And it's like when you got like people like Spider-Man gone and all the other heroes really gone, that would
Mhm.
be the perfect opportunity for me to bring those street level heroes into the mix. Or even if they didn't do that, that they had those consequences that happen in this movie show up in those shows. Um, Imagine like you're sitting there, you get to, Luke Cage season 2, and all of a sudden like people just start to vanish. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that would be emotionally amazing. But I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for them to put those characters in Avengers 4
That would
because
be
I
cool.
don't know when other moment would make the most sense. But I think that it might happen because they never said they wouldn't, and they're not making a Defenders show anytime soon. So
What I mean, God, the MCU is just it's just bending my mind because like, how would they even find Thanos? You know. I don't
well,
know. I feel
I
like
think
they sort of wrote themselves into a corner, which is a good thing, but it's just like what the fuck, you know?
well, I mean they can find him because Nebula knows where he's at, and
Yeah.
Nebula is with Tony. She's the
Hmm.
only person alive next to Tony on that planet Titan. And Thor can transport himself anywhere, so of course he can take everybody wherever Tony is.
Yeah.
Um, so what would make most sense is either one, Thor going and get Tony and Nebula and bringing them back,
Yeah.
or they all going off planet and trying to do something about this. Because it's not
Yeah.
just this taking place on Earth; this taking place around the entire universe. And I wish we would have saw a couple other planets, like watching people just evaporate. Um,
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Oh God, there was something I was gonna mention. Let me see. Oh
oh,
yeah, oh yeah. Someone mentioned in the comments, right? Someone said, Stephen Carver. I got goosebumps when Thanos grabbed the moon and brought it down, bro. Thanos threw a moon at the Avengers. Okay, and I didn't even have time to speak on that in my either of my other reviews. Like, think about that. This movie was so good that like Thanos throwing a moon was just like that was like the seventh most interesting thing that happened. You know, damn. I can't believe that happened. How the hell did he even get that idea? What the fuck? You know,
yeah.
he was that mad.
It's a lot of things that happen that I know for a fact I didn't talk about. Not just Thanos doing what he did, not just Doctor Strange going OG style, like Tony Stark with his extremist armor going head to head with
Yeah.
Thanos. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
that
Like,
one to one, that one on one between Iron Man and Thanos was like melting my brain. I was like, "What? This is just a man," you know.
yeah,
And then of course when it gets to that moment where Iron Man gets stabbed and they sort of like suck out all the music, you know,
yeah,
and I just it's just like dread, like it's just like a
yeah,
gut punch. You know, when I first saw that, I almost like fell out of my chair. I
yeah.
was
And I
like,
think the thing about that is that the movie had. I've never been to a movie where at the very end of the movie, nobody clapped, nobody said anything, everybody looked defeated. But throughout the film, there are so many different moments that people did clap. They were rallying behind it. It was like going to a football or basketball game and like, wow, that person just made that dunk. Wow, that person just made that, touchdown. But at
Yeah.
the end of the game, lost. That's legit how it feels because when Cap showed up to save Vision's butt, and like everybody in my theater was like, "Yeah, Captain America," and they were like freaking out. Like when Thor showed up, everybody was cheering. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's just so many different moments that resonate where the crowd was so hyped, but
Yeah,
then they still were just humble, bro. The movie humbles you.
it
It
kind it,
does.
it kind of does. Like it when it ended, I was like, damn, that was like a mature fucking movie, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I felt so bad for these heroes that we've come to know for like 10 years, you know.
Yeah, man.
That they all just got wildly murdered. By the way, for those of you guys watching, if you have any questions, now would definitely be the time to ask said questions. But I'm trying to think of things that I didn't get a chance to speak on from the previous review. Oh, one of my favorite moments actually is when so the Hulk is thrown to Earth. He's like thrown to like Doctor Strange's mansion, right? And like Doctor Strange and was it Wong? I think is his name. They like discover him, and then Iron Man shows up. But then when they go outside, and it's done in one take, right? And like one of those ring spaceships is like outside, like howling, and like the cars are crashing and shit. That whole sequence is just mind blowing to me. You know, it felt like a scene out of like Birdman or something. I was like, what the hell's going on? It was just it was just so masterful. The directing, the cinematography, the really creepy audio during that moment. Um, it, it almost felt like a terrorist attack, you know?
Yeah.
It was giving me like 9/11 vibes. But what were your thoughts on that moment? Because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that moment. And I really, really like it.
I think that the moment was perfectly set, especially coming off of like Loki and Heimdall's death from you know everybody that was a part of Thanos' squad and just how serious then they were and devoted that they were to everything. Ebony Maw, this sorcerer that just is like, oh, you died in the name of Thanos. You should be so happy, And then him showing up to Earth and like Doctor Strange is like, yo, you need to back up. And then Tony is like, let's go. I thought that it was perfect because it sets the tone for where the movie's gonna go moving forward. But I think even more so, and a lot of people don't talk about it because they didn't want him to die. But when Loki got his throat crushed by Thanos,
Murdered.
and I mean, no matter if he was stupid for sitting there trying to throw a knife at this man or trying to attack this man or not, the man still died. Like he got his throat crushed, and I was just like, okay, well, this is that kind of movie, you know what I'm saying? And so when they
Yeah.
showed up, I didn't know it was gonna happen as soon as it did. Like it was like they were so strategic when they attacked people. Like even when Vision got snuck and like stabbed up the back, like out of nowhere, when him and Wanda was
Yeah.
in Scotland just chilling,
Yeah.
it just comes out of nowhere where these villains come. And I
It's
think they
like
did
it
a
was like
really
a
good job.
jump scare. It was like a jump
Yeah,
scare. Like I jumped. I was like, what the fuck was that?
yeah.
Oh, I got to throw some theories at you about Avengers 4. Like, okay, so you know when Iron Man and Thanos are fighting and Thanos gets cut on his face, right? And he's like,
Hmm.
all that for a drop of blood, okay? What
Yeah.
if what if there's way more to that moment than we previously thought? Have you thought about that? Okay,
Wait, what do you mean?
what if that what if we don't take that at face value? You know what I'm saying? What if it's deeper than that? What if goddamn Tony took like a goddamn sample of his blood, for example, and was going to incorporate that in the fourth film? You know, because there was some producer, someone who works for Infinity War. You can go find it. I don't have time for all this, but they basically said that in Infinity War we wanted to break your heart. in the fourth film, we want to blow your mind. And I thought that was interesting wording. That has to imply that there may be things in the third film that we thought were trivial, but were actually, they mean something extraordinary. One moment stands out is when he cuts Thanos' face. Could be totally wrong, but I'd be fascinated to know if there was more to that. If Iron Man took him a little something, something there from his DNA.
I think that it's definitely plausible in the sense that this is my thought. I guess I'll say when Doctor Strange said to Peter and Tony, like, look, if it came between you guys and the Time Stone, I would gladly let you die over the Time Stone. And like, I think he really meant that at that time. But then when he looked at those different millions of possibilities, and he knew of one specific way that this is going to work. Notice that when Thanos had already stabbed Tony, and he was about to kill Tony, and Doctor Strange said, no, don't kill him. Give him. So I don't think that was just because he cared about Tony's life.
No.
I think the key is Tony. I think that Tony is going to be the one thing that they need to take Thanos out.
Yeah.
And that's why he said to Tony, we're going into the end game here. We're playing for the end game.
Yeah.
And so I think that it might be some resonance there that Tony might be that biggest factor moving forward with all this.
Yeah.
I don't know about the cut or not, but I know for a fact that this has to end in some sort of fashion with Tony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we were talking about this on the phone, but I think that because they were saying that the ending to Infinity War was a game changer, and interestingly they said that the ending to the fourth film would also follow suit and be a game changer. My best crack at what that might be is that I think that the Avengers, as we've come to know them in the past 10 years, I think that's going to be permanently erased in 4.
Yeah.
And that's going to be made evident, especially by the ending of the fourth film. Thoughts on that, or do you think the fourth film might end even crazier than that?
I think that it's not going to end as simply as, oh, wow, they find the gauntlet, oh, wow, they erase everything. Right. And everything just get reneged. And, I mean, even the directors have said, this is not, I mean, I don't want to take from a Star Wars reference, but this is not going to go the way you think. I just can't believe that it's just going to be erased and reverb just like nothing. Not just that. The people that did die, like Heimdall, Loki, Gamora, outside of, them disappearing, like, are they gone? I think they're absolutely gone. I don't think that the movie 4 is going to end without consequence. Now, I think that they're going to win, but it's going to take another sacrifice for that to happen.
Oh, 110%. But they got to go... Like, the fourth one needs to be better than the third one. And they got to just go weird. They got to, like, be faithful to the comics, but, like, divert. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe Iron Man secretly got Thanos' blood and they inject that into the Hulk. And Hulk is, like, fucking Super Saiyan 3 fighting Thanos or something. Like, get weird. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, just surprise us with a glimpse of, like, Fantastic Four and X-Men or something. Just go nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in order to be better than the third one, they are, for real, are going to have to go psychotically hard. Like, they're going to have to make, the concept of Thanos throwing the moon sound like a distant, weak memory or something, And I've been trying to figure out how the hell they could realistically do that, and it's been, like, bending my mind.
Yeah, I guess this is a bigger question to ask you, is that, I mean, as stupid as it sounds, like, how and who are they going to be really fighting? Because this is the reality. I know we had talked about this when you were driving earlier, about maybe Thanos being like, oh, well, I'm just going to change my mind and then reverse everything because I was wrong. I don't think it's going to happen whatsoever. But the reality is, if they do try to go at Thanos to try to stop, because all his minions are gone. It's just him. It's just him and a broken gauntlet. So it's like, the reality is the fourth one, it has to be him defending what he did. Like, literally, if anybody he's fighting at this point in the fourth one will be to defend to make sure he secures this maintaining and staying like it was. And that's why I said it doesn't make sense for him to just all of a sudden have this epiphany to reverse everything, because then it was for nothing. And so it's like the motivation of him fighting at all, because otherwise he's done what he's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's already done. But for him in the fourth one, it has to be about him defending what he did. So him making sure that the stones are secure, making sure nobody gets the gauntlet. It's all to make sure everything that he did stands. All those lives that he killed stands. Yeah. And that's the thing, I think that's going to be the most thought-provoking, as layered as his character is. Like, how can you, after doing all that, now people come in and gunning for you, like you got the #1 headband on Afro Samurai, and being like, yo, you gotta give me that headband right now. Like, so I think that's the thing that nobody processes, is that Thanos has to defend what he's done. Yeah. Like, anybody that's fighting him, even if it's Captain Marvel, even if it's Thor, like, he's defending the decision that he made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I'm going to predict that Thanos is going to... Maybe his mission in the next film might be love. Like, he might try to track down death. Mm-hmm. Or, I guess, the equivalent to death in the comic books. You think that might happen? Because I think maybe that might be part of his mission, perhaps, in the fourth film. At least for a large chunk, anyway. Because what else is he supposed to do? He might as well go on vacation. What else is he supposed to do? Shit.
But I mean, that's what I was saying before, because the way that they kind of plotted it, like, they kind of had, what's my man name? The Red Skull, and this kind of, like, I was sitting there thinking, when the Red Skull showed up, I thought it was death. I legit thought...
I did too.
I thought it was death, and so I was like, okay, for them not to introduce death, and for them to give him emotion, for them to have him connect with Gamora, I don't think that death is going to be a play at this. I think it's just going to be him choosing to, like, accept what he did, and that he has to stand by that and actually to defend it. I don't think that death is going to play a role in it at all, because the way that they did this movie is just so off kilter from the comics version of Thanos and his ambition behind it. Even Manifesto wasn't even apparent in this one. So it's like, I don't think that that's going to be a thing. I think it's going to be deeper emotionally than that. Like, it's that I killed my daughter and half of the universe for this reason. You're not going to reverse my decision. And that's my honor. You know what I'm saying? And that to me just sounds crazy. But
man, it's gonna be a trip. and then Marvel's not coming to Comic-Con. I was talking about that before. That drives me crazy. So it's like, like when the hell will we see a teaser to Avengers 4? You think, like a teaser trailer? Because the movie comes out like next May. So
when does Captain Marvel come out?
Oh shit. We have to like jump on Google really quick.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Which, first off, Brie Larson is bae. Okay, I can't wait to see her in Captain Marvel. That's gonna be ridiculous.
Captain Marvel comes out March 8th, 2019. Dang, that's a lot of time. Because Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out... When does that come out? It comes out in less than 2 months, right? Yeah. It comes out in July.
Oh, July.
So you got July until March.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know. I think that they're going to have something at Comic-Con, though. I said this earlier, that I think that Comic-Con is going to bring the very first trailer for Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. I really do. I really think that they're going to bring that there, and they're going to introduce the Skrulls. They're going to show, like, Ronan the Accuser. They're going to show, like, younger Martin Freeman and Samuel Jackson. I think that that's coming. I don't know anything beyond that. But I think if any other time be perfect,
yeah,
is to give the title for Avengers 4 at Comic-Con. Even if they didn't show up, give the title.
They got to. God, I'm trying to like comb through the film to see if there's anything big that stood out that I didn't talk about. I don't think that there necessarily is. We should probably bring up some user questions. Let's see what we got here. Totally.
Oh yeah, your negatives.
Or negatives with the film? Flaws?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have any substantial negatives. I had some nitpicks, like a list of nitpicks, like okay, so like when Doctor Strange, when he wakes up and there's like a bunch of these blades are staring at him, right? And there's that skinny evil henchman talking to him. Okay, and then like it cuts to Iron Man looking down at them, right? And Iron Man's talking to Spider-Man, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. From the sound of their suits and the volume of their voices, like really, dog, like Doctor Strange and the other guy just can't hear them at all. Really, like I don't think the distance between them and Doctor Strange was that fucking great. You know, like, they didn't hear nothing. There's just like little things. There's like a list of things like that just irk me because it's just like, how did that? I don't know about that. Like you couldn't have made Iron Man be like substantially higher up. You know what I'm saying? There's just moments like that per se. Some people have brought up the concept of like, okay, so why didn't Doctor Strange make a portal, close it, and cut the hand off of Thanos? You know, just cut off the gauntlet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually, thoughts on that?
I think that theory is that this man saw millions of different possibilities. I find it hard to believe that he didn't test the waters on that.
You're thinking, dang, I haven't even thought about this. You're thinking like Doctor Strange from seeing the 14 million results. He's like, you know what? There's no reason to even go down that. Dang.
Yeah, because I mean, the reality is that Gamora thought she freaking killed him, and he just used the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
And like changed that completely up and put her in a situation. So I think that if anybody would have seen that possibility of cutting his arm off or anything like that, Doctor Strange would have seen it. And the only other possibility and probability was for him not to say anything to anybody and let it play out in the same exact way that he saw it. Yeah. Which is hard, which honestly to me, out of everybody from a sacrificial standpoint, that's the hardest thing to actually do, man. Like he knowingly knows he's gonna die, other people are gonna die, and he's giving up the time stone. You know what I'm saying? And I think he knew. I think he definitely knew. And I mean, I agree. There was definitely some nitpicks for me too. That moment that you kind of described, like, I mean, really, you don't think he heard you? Like, y'all sitting there having this random conversation, and he's all the way. It didn't make any sense. The fact that Loki tried to step at a man that failed epically and lost against Avengers and Avengers 1, like already he has reason to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was he thinking? Definitely other moments like Peter. You know, I get Peter though. From an emotional human standpoint, like I get it, bro. I mean, you could have waited. But at the same time, Tony could have let it go when he realized that Bucky killed his parents. But he couldn't. It was an emotional response. It happens. You know what I'm saying?
I had to step away for a second. But are you talking about when they were trying to pull off the gauntlet off his hand?
Yeah. I mean, I when I was sitting there watching that, I immediately thought back to Tony when Tony like reacted when they had literally Zemo dead to rights, and Tony saw that video. He was like, "Nah, dog, you're gonna die today." Even though all there to do the mission like they were supposed to, he couldn't stop him. And it's like not only the fact that Peter realized that he couldn't kill her, but that this man that took her did. That's supposed to be her dad. It just awakened something in him. Now I think he definitely could have waited, and it makes it bad because people that you love the character have fought with him because he made that decision, because ultimately he lost his life, his crew's life, and you know, thousands or millions or trillions of others. But but either way,
yeah,
like it goes back to the Doctor Strange thing. Like he knew that this all was going to happen anyway. So
Yeah, that point, that's what we said. That point blew my mind. That like the reason why he didn't just like cut off Thanos' hand was that like he already like seen that outcome. That's a good point, I gotta say. Um, but yeah, I just like my nitpicky things were kind of just like that mostly. I don't know if you had any like substantial issues with the movie.
um, I don't have a lot of substantial ones. I think that they should have telegraphed that this movie was in two parts, though. I think that they should have just went on open and said, instead of this movie is the very end, but
Mm-hmm.
just really saying to those people that are outside consumers with the realization that, okay, there is a continuation to this. Because I'm sitting there looking at from a lot of critics
Mm-hmm.
that didn't rate this as high as they could have. They were like, okay, well, we know this is going to happen. We know this can't just stand. Instead of just embracing the movie for what it was, they couldn't get past that step. Versus if this would have been labeled off cut, this is a two-parter, then things would resonate a little bit differently in the perception of critics and consumers in the long run. I mean, nitpicks would be, like I said, with the whole telegraphing things and on a miss. I don't know how to say this without being mean. Like they showed literally scenes of the Hulk in the trailers, but he
Yeah,
never really came out. You know what I'm saying? And it's
yeah.
like, did you do that to trick me, or did you do that because you wanted to keep the surprise, the nuance? Because they did that with Thor Ragnarok with the eye, and then that paid off very well. But it was like with this one, when you think you're gonna have a Hulk that actually is gonna be able to stand and help, and he kind of just like is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the point of even telegraphing that in a trailer? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have just left that out, and I wouldn't have, had this presumption that he would do that. So I think it's some telegraphing things that, from a marketing standpoint, it could have changed. But
Yeah.
as far as the movie as a whole, I mean, it was one of the best, if not, it's not one. If man, I'm not say this. It's one of the best Marvel movies ever,
Yeah.
in so many different ways, in so many different shit. Winter Soldier is still my number one, but
Jeez. Jeez.
this is my number two.
Uh,
This is in my number two right now. So
this is 100% my favorite. My favorite Marvel film. It's a 10 out of 10. Hell, for me, I think it's the best superhero film that's ever made. For me personally, me and my cousin both agreed that we liked Infinity War more than the Dark Knight, right? And I remember someone in the comment sections of some video, they were like, oh, "What?" But like I love the Dark Knight, but if I'm being for real, like there is no way on this earth that I'm gonna replay um that I will have replayed the Dark Knight more so than Infinity War in the years to come. Or until the end, till I die. Fuck it, alright? There's no way. I'm gonna be watching Infinity War way more times. You talk about like I love the Dark Knight, extraordinary film, but for God's sakes, like it's not the same. Like the energy of Infinity War is totally different. You know what I'm saying? It almost like demands repeated viewings. Um, but yeah, I think it's the best superhero film all time. Personally, shit,
I, I think I
they
think
did things in this movie that I didn't even think were like plausible. Like the fight at Wakanda was like the first time I've ever seen a superhero battle that was equivalent to like sword fighting that you would find in like Lord of the Rings. Like Helm's Deep.
yeah,
It was like Helm's Deep to
yeah.
me. You know.
Yeah, I think that goes into another, I guess, negative for me is that a couple of different moments when Wakanda, specifically with Black Panther, they were just kind of cut out of the movie, probably for time's sake.
Sure.
But there was a one moment, there was a quote from T'Challa, and he was talking to Okoye, and she was like talking about like this war that was coming, and he was like, "This isn't just about a war for Wakanda. This is about everywhere and
Yeah.
everyone."
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, I mean, they kind of were just kind of underused, but I think a lot of people don't realize that they shot all the Wakanda stuff in Infinity War before they made Black Panther. A lot of people don't know that the scenes for Infinity War were created before Black Panther was even done. They shot a lot of scenes back to back towards the end with a lot of the other characters like M'Baku and whatnot. But the movie itself, Infinity War, was shot before what they were able to finish with Black Panther. So it's like I can't fault that other than a nitpick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, uh-oh.
What happened?
Can you hear me?
I can
My headphones. But this is what I'll say as far as I think this is one of the best superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
For facts. But it's like this is a better superhero film than The Dark Knight, but I think that The Dark Knight might be a better movie in execution and as lasting appeal for me. Like as a Dark Knight is a superior film, but I think this is a way better superhero film. I think that's the way I take it.
Yeah, which one being like a better film? Dang, I have to think on that for a second. I mean, I do think that like I think is my voice echoing for you? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but I don't know. I do think that it's the best like superhero film of all time. Which one's like just a better movie? I don't know. That's hard to address because like I can already tell that in the end I would have watched like Infinity War way more times than The Dark Knight, which is kind of insane. I never thought a day like that would be arriving, but it's arrived.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't think that Blade Runner 2049 would be my second favorite film of all time either. So maybe I do think that Infinity War is a better film. Because there's just so much more to it, I mean, the filmmaking in The Dark Knight is fantastic, but, well, maybe we shouldn't get into a debate about what's better, The Dark Knight or Infinity War. I don't know if people are ready for all that. But I guess moving past that, let me scroll through some of these questions. God, my boy Michael was in here. God damn.
Yeah, Farewell was in there.
Shout out to my boy. The post-credit scene. I feel like they should have gone with no post-credit scene, but that's just me personally. I feel like they should just left it out. I mean, the scene that they gave us was great. To be fair, probably the most memorable post-credit scene they've made so far, at least for me personally. Because when I saw the Captain Marvel logo, I was like, like I just went insane. But honestly, I feel like it would have been more OG if they ended with nothing. Like, nah, we'll see you next year. Thanos will return. Thoughts?
I think it's a two-hand sword. I think that the post-credit scene is one of their best that they've ever done.
True.
And it was only one. Like it was like everybody legit had to walk through all of the credits and then watch that and seeing Samuel Jackson back and seeing Hill back, and they're definitely doing some underground stuff. Maybe they're alluding to a secret Avengers eventually. I can't wait for that. There's definitely going to be a squirrel invasion, probably with a man, Hawkeye, Ronan, and some other people. But that's for another talk. I think that they had to do it because it's still at the end of the day a family film. It's hard to say.
But they ended it with killing everybody. What are you talking about?
I mean, but it's the thing. Imagine, like you're saying. I agree that it would have hit way worse if there was no animation, no extra credit scene whatsoever.
You know what?
It would have devastated people.
You know what would have been eerie is that like after it says Infinity Gauntlet, it says please don't stay until the end. There will not be a blah 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 with this film, and then it goes through the rest of the credits. Dog, people would have just been stunned. You know what I'm saying? People would have just been dumbfounded. Like, no, maybe there really is a post credit scene.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, this is still a Marvel film. They have to leave allusion to hope. And the hope is, of course, Captain Marvel and the fact that you see Nick Fury come back and he, of all people, have the weird looking pager that's from outer space to page her, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. I think that
Mm-hmm.
they needed to do that because if they hadn't, I mean, people would have, like, especially if they're really not going to do anything for Comic-Con and they don't give us any kind of title for what the movie's going to be about until next year, like,
Damn.
people would have been crushed, man. I wouldn't even have saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. I've been like, yo, I'm waiting. I'll wait till next year.
Bro, do
Yep.
you think? I mean, granted, given your answers, I feel like I already know the answer, but still, like, do you think they should have committed? Like, do you think they should have just straight went for it and everybody who died, died, couldn't be brought back? Gauntlet was destroyed, the stones were destroyed, or at least the time one, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that was the best decision? Because I was talking with a friend, uh, but she couldn't get past that. She couldn't get past the fact that like she's just like Drell, they're just gonna renege. Who cares? Why should I even be shocked right now? They're coming right back. Do you think they should have fully committed? Granted, that's bonkers because that means that we wouldn't have another Black Panther film. We wouldn't have a Spider-Man film. We keep going on and on. That would be completely bonkers. But what do you think?
So this is the thing. Somebody had brought that to my attention when we did our spoiler discussion earlier. I
For the
think
record,
Akasana brought up.
I think they should have done it. Let's go hard. That's what I would have said in the fucking meetings. I would have said, let's do it. Someone would be like, but there won't be a Spider-Man sequel. I would be like, nigga, who cares? We're doing it.
So the weird thing about this is that technically they could have. It just would have been very technically hard to do because the reality is Shuri has been notably named and become the Black Panther and the ruler of Wakanda in the absence of T'Challa.
Yeah.
There is a Miles Morales that does exist. There's Wongs that still exists, and there easily can be another Doctor Strange outside of Stephen Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And Guardians of the Galaxy could exist with Rocket getting a brand new team. All that to say is that they definitely could do it. It's just the undertaking of trying to do it would be very hard for the franchises moving forward, especially the people that would be devastated. I think that eventually, man, this is hard to say. If they did keep that, like say after 4, everybody still died, but then there's a way of bringing them back over time. And if you go and like you spend some time through these other franchises with the absence of all these characters,
Yeah, I'm saying
and
like I'm saying like everyone who died in this film, like they just don't come back ever again. We never see them again.
yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Well, no,
But
of course not, of course not. But
what I'm saying is that what would be possible and probable is that when they start each one of these films, like Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man 2,
mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, if they're still not back and like time has passed,
yeah,
and then they eventually get brought back into the fold, I think that'd be really interesting.
yeah,
I think that would be something that would be very profound. That they like, I don't even know how I would feel if that happened. Like if we go into Spider-Man: Homecoming without Peter Parker, you know what I'm saying, and like that would be some craziness. But it's like that undertaking would be too hard because then you would have to go and take a time jump 5 years later, and Miles Morales is in high school instead of Peter. And it's like
I would have done it.
You start to go into this multiverse kind of thing where like this universe has lost all its heroes, but then in this other universe, these heroes are still here, but it's different. That would be very interesting if they went to a multiverse kind of thing, but I don't think they're going to do it. Unfortunately, it's too hard to.
No, I mean
really...
they can't do that. Like financially, that'd be a nightmare. Like what you did, that'd be equivalent to like shooting yourself in the foot. Like who wants to do that? I would, to be fair, because it's what the people need. I can understand why they didn't do it, but I mean, it's what my crazy ass would have done. Everybody would have been scarred for life. But let me skim through these damn questions really quick before we get out of here. Cause we gotta watch Westworld. You know what I'm saying?
Westworld's already on right now. We've like missed 43 minutes of.
Well, I got the HBO now, so like it's just waiting on me.
Oh yeah, I forgot I got that.
Block. Well, I mean, there's ways for you to watch it, but I don't know if I can legally state some of that. But Black Rock Wednesday. How would you feel about Loki getting taken out? It completely snapped my head off. I can't believe they opened the movie like that. Oh yeah, real quick, nerdgasm. So when he's dragging Thor by his head, which whoever thought of that? What a brilliant idea, right? But before he picks up Thanos, if you look forward in front of Thanos, like you see like the cosmos and just little details like that, just they just kill me. Goodness. Oh, I was saying, bro, pause real quick. I was saying before, like, is this the new Star Wars? Have your thoughts changed on that, or I feel like I don't know. I feel like at least with Infinity War, that like, dang, I think they've reached Star Wars status cinematically. Anyway,
I think that they are on Star Wars level at this point. I definitely think that they're on the same level as Star Wars. I just don't know if they superseded Star Wars, because Star Wars just threw like, a bomb on the film industry with The Last Jedi and reinvented itself. So
but think
I don't know.
Think about what Marvel's done. 18 films. What they say, like 3? I guess altogether, like all the films made like 3 billion or something.
Yeah.
Jesus. I think it's the new Star Wars. Fuck it. Chances of Adam Warlock in Avengers 4. I don't know anything about Adam Warlock. So got any thoughts on that?
It's really interesting because Adam Warlock, with the help of Gamora, got the Infinity Gauntlet. They did. Actually, Adam Warlock was the reason why they actually won Infinity Gauntlet.
Really?
They have the tube and everything that was created for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
But because they never showed his character, they never left anything to make him do what he's got to do, I don't think that's going to happen. It could have, but they didn't set it up well. Because Nathan Fillion initially was supposed to be Adam Warlock. But they didn't fall through with that. But yeah, he actually got the Infinity Gauntlet. He brought into submission Thanos. So I don't think it's going to happen, though, unfortunately.
Is there anything? I'm just skimming through some of people's. What's the best comic book movie compared to the best superhero movie? That's a weird question.
I don't understand.
But either way, I would say that Infinity War is the best comic book movie I've ever seen. So, and I think it's the best superhero film I've ever seen. So, there you go. I mean, some other great ones I'd probably say, like, I don't know, Sin City. I don't know. I love Spider-Man 2.
Ah, man. Oh, I get what he's saying. Like, comic book movie as in, like, Watchmen or 300.
Yeah, I do
Sin
love
City.
Watchmen.
I mean, definitely Watchmen is up there for me.
Same.
I would say The Dark Knight, of course.
Of course. Well, just the whole Dark Knight trilogy.
Winter Soldier for Marvel, for sure. I mean, Man of Steel, a lot of you guys don't agree with, but that's one of my favorite incarnations of Superman ever. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think Valkyrie will join the new Avengers? Well, I think she's still alive, right?
She is. The Russos confirmed that she's still alive. She was part of that second half that didn't die. That's another nitpick. They never showed the other ship getting away or why or how Thanos just let them go. I don't know how she got away. I don't even know if Crump or whatever the guy's name, the rock guy, how he lived. I'm assuming he's with her. But she's still alive. I don't think that. You know what? She might show up in Avengers 4. I don't know.
Why did Thanos when he when he like kills Drax and kills Mantis and then he brings them back? Why?
Well, I don't think he killed them. I think he used the reality stone and changed their molecular look, because that actually is something straight from the comics. Like, he actually did the same exact thing in the comics. And he didn't kill them. He just kind of left them indisposed at the time. And I honestly feel like he only kills when he feels like he has to.
Mm.
That's the only time that he actually kills. Like, if you notice, like, if it's not like wiping away half of a race, like most of the Avengers could have died, and he really just tried to put them in a place of like submission,
Right.
unless they pissed him off. You know what I'm saying? And I really think he just didn't even care less. Like, I mean, when Drax is like, "I'm gonna kill you for my family," he didn't even look at Drax. He just like turned them into slices.
Oh,
Uh,
I guess really quick, the suits and the humor. First off, the new Spider-Man suit. What they gotta get rid of that thing because if he's wearing that suit for now on, he's killing every villain. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody standing a chance against Spider-Man. You know what I mean? They're going down. Unless it's like Carnage and Venom fighting them at the same time. Like if it's unless it's something like that, they're going down. I thought it looked great. I thought the new Iron Man suit was incredible. Uh, and most of the humor landed for me. I did feel like maybe there was a little bit too many jokes. If it was me personally, I would scale back the jokes, but I love Stanley Cooper, so that's not a surprise. But yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like Drax was the result of the best jokes or the best comedy. I think him and Thor. I think.
yeah, I think that Thor with the Guardians was probably the funniest thing, which made the most probable sense of comedy.
Sure.
When Tony and Doctor Strange were having their moment, it
Oh
kind of
yeah.
was like interesting, but it wasn't necessary. When Tony, and Peter Quill were like having their moment, that was just kind of like cringe for me a little bit. It was funny, but it didn't really pull anything for me. It wasn't bad, but it was like this is unnecessary. Um, but yeah, I don't know about it. What was the first part of that question? I missed it.
Well, I was asking what you thought about the new suits, like so, like Spider Man's new suit,
Oh,
Iron
oh
Man's new
yeah.
suit.
Dude, that suit, the Iron Spider suit, is freaking legit.
It's
Now, this is
great.
the thing I'm curious about. Everybody that went, like, when and if they get brought back, I'm gonna presume that they don't get brought back with the suits that they had. I don't think that Black Panther's gonna come back with the suit that Shuri made him. I don't think that Spider-Man's gonna come back with his suit that Tony made him. I think they're just gonna come back in their being, which would make more sense to me. Because that Iron Spider suit is so dope. It's straight from the comic. It's different in certain nuances, but those legs when they came out, dude, the geek in me like flipped out. I was like, yes.
Dude, like,
Um,
first off, Iron Man's like hoodie is super fresh. All right, I'll buy that real quick. And then like the new suit, it's just so clean. It's so close to being like photorealistic in certain shots. Like, it just looks so dope. Like, God, Tony Stark. He's like a god, you know? What the hell
yeah.
happened? Like, I almost feel like they took the strength of his suit a little bit too far because when he was fighting Thanos, it was like too much for my brain to like compute, you know? I was like, I can't handle all this information. My boy Tony is throwing blows at Thanos. Like, dang. He even impressed Thanos for real, you know?
Yeah.
How is this? Can we just say that this is the best MCU villain? How is it not? You know?
Yeah, I mean, he is the best. Probably right below him, I would say Killmonger.
Oh yeah,
Below him would be Loki, but yeah, he's the best villain they've ever come up with.
100%. He was killing them. I think. I think that might be all that I got to say, except for I thought they brought it with the score this time for once. Jesus, the score is always something I forget. For the first time ever, I was like, "Yo, the score was used really well. The sound effects were used every time." Like when Thanos walked through his vortex, you know, when he teleports and like he entered Titan. Just like man, the sound effects are incredible, and the scene. That's another thing. The scene transitions I thought were extraordinary. Um, like I think there was like an explosion, and then like it cuts to vortex opening and then Thanos steps out and Titan. Like there were some really unique, even just scene transitions, which might sound small, but like just they found a way to make the movie flow. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't like action moment, action moment, action moment, and then like it just cuts to like two other people kissing or something. Like it flowed in like an organic way that made sense. You know?
Yeah. It's really interesting when you bring out the score because this definitely was one of the best scores.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, I went back and I reviewed all the Marvel movies. I forgot about, as bad as Thor: The Dark World was, there was this one scene where Loki realized that his mother died.
Mm.
And like even the funeral scene, that there was a song by Brian Taylor, I think it's called Into Eternity.
Mm.
Like that scene and that score was just so beautiful, and the rest of the movie was just so terrible. But like throughout the most of Infinity War, there was different score scenes like this that definitely resonate throughout, and I was really happy that Marvel finally, got it. You know what I'm saying? And even like Black Panther, the score for that one's actually really good as well. Um,
Yeah, yeah. There's
but
yeah. When we're first introduced to Wakanda, I'm not gonna lie, the sound of the drums and seeing T- is it T'Challa?
yeah,
Yeah, walking across the field, I was like, "Ooh!" I do like that theme song actually. It's pretty cool, but I think my left leg is like dead, and I have to sneeze. And I think, honest to God, I don't think there's anything else in my head that I need to say about the film. I don't think. If you have a chance to see it in IMAX, like a real IMAX, like something that's like 60, 70 feet tall, find that
do
theater
it
and go to it
immediately.
immediately. You don't know what you're missing. Well, isn't it
Yeah,
just a big screen? Just do it, okay? Christ.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's the best way to see
Shoot.
the movie. I am curious what it looks like in like IMAX 3D though. I haven't had
Oh
a
wait, you
chance
didn't see
to.
it in IMAX 3D?
No. Oh wait,
Oh,
did I?
uh,
No, I don't think I did. No,
dude,
no.
like all the freaking aerial and cosmic battles, like when there's this one scene of depth when Thor like is taking the blunt of the star,
Mm-hmm.
and like he just goes and pushes for it. Like you see this panned out shot of him literally going through the sky and Rocket trying to rev to him, and then him just hitting like the wall or the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing, man. All the aerial stuff in the 3D was actually really tight, really great in IMAX. So definitely see an IMAX 3D if you can.
Yeah,
Um,
usually their 3D is pretty good for the most part. I feel, um, but I don't know if you have anything else to add. But I don't think that I do. I don't think.
I would say, man, congratulations to the Russos. Congratulations to Marvel
Right,
on
they
not
should
just
be.
achievement of
Man,
11 days, $1 billion, but giving me a movie that everything that I wanted, I got. I got the snap. I got the consequence. I got depth. I got death. Um, I got great, memorable scenes. I got a decent story. I got a villain that not only had convictions and had a goal, but depth. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
everything about the film in its entirety is what I was hoping it would be,
yeah,
and what I was worried wouldn't come through well.
yeah,
Uh, and it's like every death meant something, and every single moment that happened throughout, even if it was kind of like unneeded at certain points, as far as the comedy is concerned,
yeah.
it resonated with me to the point that I remember everything, even watching it 3 times. Like all this stuff that I'm talking to you guys about is cemented in my brain. I think it hit an emotional chord with everybody. That's one thing I guess we didn't talk about is that how many of you guys in the comment sections were affected by this film emotionally? Like, how did you come out of the film the first time you watched it? Were you overcome with grief? Did you feel beat down? Were you crying? Like, how did you really feel? Because I mean, I can tell you that me and Jor-El, we were affected. Like, that's part of the reason why we have such a passion talking about this because we emotionally were affected by this film.
Yeah, to me it's I think for the first time This is the least amount of notes I've taken for a film like this, which is really unusual. But I think that the film is just so overwhelming, which is a huge compliment. It's so overwhelming. It's almost overly detailed. It's almost like it's too dense. Like there's just too many jokes. There's too much action. There's too many satisfying moments and callbacks. You know, it's like overwhelming. It's like it's hard to even like talk about it coherently after a single viewing. You know what I'm saying? You get
Yeah.
into like these passionate debates with people about it. Luckily, it doesn't appear to be at Last Jedi level debates, which is kind of nice. But I was just, it's just an experience. You just have to experience it. You know, it's not even like a film to really take notes on. You just need to let it wash over you, as cheesy as that might sound, because it is a lot for fans. You know, I mean, if you're PewDiePie, will clearly go about your day, but like for fans, it is a pretty overwhelming experience. You know,
Yeah.
like,
True, man.
but I think that's all. I'm gonna take a final peek at the comments, but I think that's pretty much all I got to say about the film. I gave it a 10 out of 10. You gave it.
I never rated it. I forgot. I never rated this film.
You never rated the film.
I never did. I never actually rated it because I was waiting to do my spoiler review. So I guess you guys are gonna get my my first rating for this. Fudge, bro.
It's a clean 10 for me, peeps. Okay, I'm gonna be showing my grandkids this shit in VR in the future. It's gonna be
I'm definitely gonna be doing the same exact thing. Heck, I'm gonna be showing my kid this in less than 5 years. But
right.
I'm I'm gonna give this a 9.5 out of 10. It was near perfect for me. From a superhero standpoint, it is one of the best superhero films you will ever see or ever really experience. I guess it's not just seeing it. You were right. It's like an experience. Yeah. I think you'll never experience anything quite like this, especially the culmination of 10 years worth of filming. The 19th film being this, and I might change my rating. By the time they get to Avengers 4, if that joint ends on a high note, and this was just a precursor to that, I might end up giving this a 10, like legit. As my ranking, like I said, this is my number 2, tied with Black Panther. My number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 4, Avengers 1. Number 5, Iron Man 1. Number 1, of course, is Winter Soldier. But this film was near perfect for me. I really appreciated what they did with this film.
I'm so happy that the Russo brothers are doing the next one. Like, oh man, they're like just home run. You know what I'm saying? Swish in the basket. Because these fools are about to just kill us for real. Like gunshots. Like they're about to just blast our heads off. You know, it's wild. Anyway. I think that's all we got. I really do want to watch Westworld and Barry. So, I think I'm about to bid you all a good day, a good night. But what the hell are you guys? What are you guys even talking about in the comment section? What y'all talking
about? Somebody mentioned like, what if Roger Deakins like shot the next? What did he say? The next Doctor Strange movie.
What? Goodness, I thought they were gonna say, "What if Roger Deakins shot Avengers 4?" I was like, bruh, someone's getting slapped for no reason. But I will say, even if he did direct something like, or did cinematography for Doctor Strange, if he did the cinematography for any Marvel film, that demands a pause. First off, could you imagine if Black Widow had like a Deakins treatment? You know, it'd probably feel like Sicario or something. You know, man. That's a fascinating notion right there.
It is. It actually really is.
Woo, that's a good place to end off on. Oh, real quick. You think it's going to beat Avatar? Box office? Worldwide?
Oh, man. Avatar? Why you got to put me in this?
We gotta end there. We gotta wrap this up. We gotta end there because if Infinity War cannot defeat Avatar, box office, worldwide gross. If Infinity War can't do it, nothing can. Or at least nothing can for at least the next 10, 15 years.
I completely agree. If they don't, then nothing will for the next 10 years. Me and Jor-Els had this conversation because Avatar right now is sitting at $2.7 billion. It released in 2009, December 2009, re-released in August of 2010. The 2009 run, they freaking did $2 billion foreign and $760 million domestically, unheard of.
Ooh.
And the only thing that came close was Titanic at $2.1 billion. The Force Awakens at $2 billion. Now, I know for a fact I'm going to say that it will reach $2 billion.
Okay.
I think it'll do that. It's just hard for me to believe that unless like 4DX or some kind of technology isn't invoking people to go and see this film over and over again, it can make that kind of revenue overseas, because $2 billion overseas is just unheard of. And a re-release. I mean, the re-release, guys, it hit like 10 million re-release.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it can do it.
I think it's gonna easily defeat what The Force Awakens gross worldwide in its entirety, but defeating Avatar, that's what I like to call a mystery right there. That's a question mark. I have faith that it can, but it is an extraordinary amount of money to defeat. But I would like to see Avatar go down, at the box office, finally. Shit, it don't make no damn sense. James Cameron has been on top since, when the hell did Titanic come out? Like 1997? 1999 maybe?
98?
98?
I think it was 98.
Titanic was the number one box office of all time, and then it was Avatar. It's like, Jesus, James. Like, make some more room at the table for other people. I'm going to say... I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to say that it will defeat the Avatar record. More than likely, I'm probably wrong, but...
Wait, what?
I'm saying that Infinity War is going to either hit... It's going to defeat Avatar, is what I'm saying. Damn it.
Okay, so how much money is it going to make, then? That you're saying?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know. It's just gonna make more. It won't be by much, but it's gonna make more. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be wrong, but fuck it. I'm gonna say Avengers. It made $1 billion in 11 days. Hasn't even opened in China. It doesn't open in China until what is it, like the 11th? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that in less than 2 weeks, Deadpool is gonna release, and then the week after that, Solo is gonna release. It's gonna slow it down irrevocably in some way, shape, or form. Now overseas, though, this is the thing. I'll say this. All right, this is how I'll know if it's possible or not. if in 3 weeks' time, from now, that it's sitting at maybe close to 1,500,000,000 overseas, foreign, just foreign by itself, then I predict it'll do it. If it hits close to 1.5 in less than 3 weeks, and foreign, it'll be.
Okay.
I'll say that. But if not,
well, hopefully, my past self will be happy, and hopefully my future self finds out that Infinity War won. That would be the coolest thing ever. God, it has best opening weekend, the fastest to ever hit $1 billion. Why not overtake that Avatar? Because like I was telling you on the phone, I think there's gonna be a lot of people like me who go dumb and go see it like 5 times, go see it 7 times. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Guess we'll see what happens, but. I think we're gonna wrap this up, guys. His information will be in the description box and the comment section down below. But I need some water. I can't feel my left leg, so those need to be dealt with. But thanks for stopping by. This was a pretty exhaustive review, but I definitely wanted to do this for you guys since the last one was kind of rushed. But yeah, we're out. Damn it.
Yeah, we did the daggone thing.